Hello, I'm here with Pearl. She is one of our residents here at the facility. Thank you, Pearl, for taking the time to sit down with me and allowing me to ask you a couple questions.
You're welcome.
So you've been with this facility for how long?
I've been on campus for 2.5 years. I was 6 months in independent living, and then I've been here almost 2 years in assisted living.
Okay, so what's the difference between independent and assisted living?
You have more help over here in assisted living with activities of daily living, like bathing, putting on your shoes, your clothing. They make your bed and a few things like that.
Okay. So when you as a person, an individual, come to a point where you realize that you're needing help, more help than you particularly want, how does that make you feel?
For me, it was a easy and hard transition. It's very frustrating to lose your being control, basically.
Right.
And that was the hardest part for me. But I had a long time to get ready for it because I knew 7 years ago that I would be here. So
Right. You had enough ample time to prepare yourself
Right.
mentally and physically for the
Right.
change.
right,
Because it is a huge change.
it is.
With the bathing or pride issues of, I used to be able to do this and now I can't. How did you physically get past those issues?
I still haven't gotten past some of them.
Okay.
Like
no, that's
the bathing is not a problem for me because I was in a swim class, and it was in a woman's locker room, and it wasn't hard to
right.
to be around other.
Angry, and in that anger, that frustration of that moment of frustration, did you lash out at a caregiver?
I don't think that I lashed out at a caregiver. I lashed out at myself.
Okay.
When I get angry, because first of all, why do I have to be here? Why did I get sick and the whole thing?
Right.
And then why can't I do it? So it's more turned in on me, but I don't think I've ever really lashed out at a caregiver as far as
Okay.
I try to be very nice to them.
You try to be cognizant of their feelings because they're there to help you.
Right.
Right. You get older, it's like the more you do, even though it's less than you used to do, it's still wear and tear on your body.
Yeah,
and
it takes me twice as long to do half as much.
Exactly.
That's what I say.
It does. When it comes to your progression of your illness, if you would like to share what your illness is and why you're needing the assistance now.
Okay, I have a very rare interstitial lung disease.
Okay.
That I was diagnosed with 7.5 years ago. And at that point, they told me I probably wouldn't live for 4 years.
And look at you now.
And so now here first they told me 4 months, and then they said 4 years, and now, it's been 7.5 years.
Amen.
So, I try to be thankful for every day because kind of they're borrowed days, I think.
Right.
But, and then that disease manifests itself in something called polymyositis, which is in my legs, and it has rendered me unable to get up out of a chair most of the time.
Okay.
It's just something that it's a disconnect in the muscles system. It's a muscular thing. Myositis, of course, is muscular, and situs means multiple. So
right. So you'll eventually be in a wheelchair.
Eventually.
Yeah.
I don't.
Are you?
I
know.
I don't think of that.
Are you trying to prepare yourself mentally for that next step?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and my doctors keep saying, they don't think it's going to be for a while.
Well, that's good.
But, I never know. Like, 3 weeks ago when my heart went in AFib, that was a complete surprise.
Yeah, that was totally unexpected.
So I didn't have any, idea. And of course they say there's lots of people that live with it for years and years, but.
Hello, I am with Diane Dottie, who is a spouse of a resident at our facility. She took care of her husband for 7 years prior to moving in here with him. And I'm just going to ask you some questions, Diane, about how you managed care providing for your husband before you moved into the facility. So how did you approach his care planning? What did you do to take that first initiative step?
His actual care.
Realizing that he needed more care than just doing it on his own.
Yeah, right. Well, he progressively got worse over a period of time. So we started out in an independent living facility, to another type walker, and then to a wheelchair. And then we needed to move into an assisted living facility because I could no longer bathe him or take care of needs like that.
How did you feel about taking that role on? Because you were a spouse, and of course, as a spouse, you do take care of each other in a marriage. Mm-hmm. But having a disabled or a illness to where he really needed more care before you came into a facility, how did you feel? How did you differentiate the spousal duties to the caregiving duties?
I just realized that my commitment is to him in a marriage relationship, and that my first responsibility was to him. I realized that my attitude had everything to do with how I was going to respond to it.
Right. Yes.
And so, as a Christian, first I realized my responsibility as this is something that God had brought into my life, into our lives. Right. That it was not only him, but it was me. We were together in this.
A team.
It's till death do us part.
Right.
We're going to take care of each other.
So as God was building him through this, he was also building you
that's
through
true.
this.
Right.
That's true. How did you handle, did he ever get to a point where he got angry?
Oh, yes.
Stubborn, fearful, depressed?
Mm-hmm. He never got depressed.
Okay.
And I was very grateful for that.
Okay.
I've always thought I needed to have an attitude of gratitude
right.
for the things that happened, and one of them was that he never got depressed. Angry, he did have angry outbursts at me, and that was hard, but we've learned to work through those and to talk through them.
So was there ever a time where you were like, throw up the towel, throw up the white flag, I give up, I'm going to put him in a facility because I can no longer take this. This is too much to handle. The feelings of frustration were overwhelming. Did you ever get to that point?
Yes. I mean, and also my children saw that was happening, and they would get frustrated too with the way that he was treating me because they thought it wasn't right for the care that I was giving him. But I realized it's part of the process.
It is.
You just have to live through it and work through it. But it was hard. It is hard.
It is hard. Did you take time for yourself? Did you separate?
I realized that I had to. And so that was where the mentoring issues came in that I started. I mean, I've always mentored younger women, but I realized this is a part of our lives in the Lord. And so, I need to use it for His glory. And so I was sharing my frustration with younger women. I was praying for them and their frustrations as younger women. Right. And so it's always been a good balance.
Did you ever get sick because your body was taking on too much from caregiving?
I think I did, yeah, because I got AFib, and I have worked through that now where I'm off the medication.
Amazing, awesome.
And so that is good, but I think it's because I've learned to release those feelings to the Lord and know that He's the one that has us in this situation, and so He's going to guide us through it.
So the one thing you did turn to every day was God and the Word.
And to the Word, and just soaked myself in the Word, and always have my daily times with the Lord. And pray.
Give a difficult situation you handled with him. Like, did he refuse to take a shower one day? Or did he refuse to eat? How did you handle that difficult situation?
I think his main issue is being consistent with his exercises to keep up the strength in his legs.
Okay.
And so it's been frustrating to be able to encourage him without coming across too strong. Okay. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Not being a mother.
Right.
But being an encourager.
Right.
So that's been a difficult balance.
Being able to distinguish the difference between a caregiver, a mother, a wife.
Right. Because I don't want to be his mother, and he doesn't want me to be his mother. He wants me to be his wife.
Right.
And so to be sure that I hug him and kiss him and be an encourager that way, to meet those, touch him.
Right.
Because he's a touchy-feely person.
I am too. I always touch somebody when, it's, even if I'm just walking by them, I give them a gentle touch because sometimes it's all they need.
That's right.
All
That's
they
right.
need. what does caregiving, the difference between before his diagnosis and after now?
I think it's always been the same.
Always been the same.
You know, of going to the Lord and learning to go to the Lord and to give my emotions to Him and to embrace the feelings that happen, but know that I have a response. I have a choice in how I respond.
That's true.
So, you know, am I going to respond in a godly way, the way that would honor the Lord, or am I going to do it in some selfish way?
Right. What is his diagnosis?
It's ataxia, or multiple systems atrophy.
Okay.
And it's incurable. They can't do anything with it. He will continue to deteriorate. And like I said, in a period of a year, he went from a cane to 2 types of walkers and then to the wheelchair.
Right. But him learning to walk again is amazing.
Yeah. Now
It's
that's
beautiful.
because of exercise. He will
Okay.
walk with that. It's a neurological walker that he has.
Hi, I'm with Chelsea. She is a resident caregiver here at the facility, and she's giving me the privilege to interview her for my assignment. I just have a few questions, Chelsea. Thank you for sitting with me. How do you approach care planning in your day? Before you come in, how do you mentally prepare?
I just know I'm coming in to help people, so that's kind of my preparation there is, you know, how would I want my day to go is how I kind of put it on with them is how would I want their day to go.
Okay.
So I kind of just have that mentality of, you know, productivity and staying busy and just trying to give that to them too, and that usually works for most days.
Yeah, that's good. How did you get into this industry?
Actually, my sister is the one that got me the job doing it. I didn't know exactly what I was getting into when I was 18 doing it, but here I am 5 years later, you know.
So you've been in the care field for 5 years. Okay.
Longer than that, actually. I feel like it's going on longer since I've been 18 and I'm 24, so I've got
yeah.
6 years.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And you obviously love it because you're still
here.
doing it.
Yeah, I'm still here.
How did you feel about caring for a person with memory problems, whether it be Alzheimer's or dementia?
Well, that's actually what I started with.
Okay.
I started with Alzheimer's and dementia, and at first it was kind of hard to understand because every person that has those memory problems is different. Some of them have behaviors and, you know, will yell at you. Others are very to themselves and, you know, you don't know why they're like that. And some of them don't have those verbal, you know, abilities anymore and they can't even talk to you.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just different for everybody and you just gotta kind of go from there and see.
Learn as they're growing in their disability.
Observe.
Okay.
You have to observe a
A
lot.
lot of observing.
Mhm.
Right. How would you handle when a resident that has dementia, if they got angry or stubborn or fearful, if they have a feeling or if they have an action that is against you, how do you respond to them so they don't grow in that fear and yet you don't take what they're doing personally?
Well, at first, what I always do when I see somebody that's crying or angry, I go up to them and I go, what's going on? Tell me, explain to me, verbalize what's going on, help me understand. And then at that point, I do my best to understand what's making them like that, whether it be a phone call they received earlier or something that they're just imagining. I go along with it, you know, I put myself in their shoes and realize they have that feeling and anything I say isn't going to make it go away. So let's understand it and work together to try to get rid of that feeling.
Right. That makes sense. Other than Alzheimer's and dementia, what other diagnosis have you cared for?
Parkinson's. I mean, a lot of the residents here are anywhere from, you know, skin diseases to, I mean, there's a whole range of it. Diabetes, cancer, you name it. I mean, there's probably stuff that I've worked with a resident and they are battling something that's really serious or really rare that maybe I don't even have I don't even know about until I read their care plan. And it's like, wow, I'm really actually dealing with this.
Right.
I've only ever read about it, but now I'm actually hands-on.